Begin with a Fox News alert. The parents of one of the 4 murdered University of Idaho students are speaking out to Fox News and standing behind her ex-boyfriend, who she called minutes before she was murdered. The 4 were stabbed to death while sleeping in their beds. And the Moscow police chief now says when officers arrived at the home, there were no signs of forced entry. Police also revealing the 911 call that was made about 9 hours after the killing came from one of the roommates' cell phones. Police previously cleared the roommates of any wrongdoing. Kaylee Goncalves' ex-boyfriend Jack was identified as the person she called 10 times the night she was killed. Here are her parents on Lawrence Jones' cross country from just last night.
We love Jack, absolutely love Jack. We stand behind Jack 1,000%. Jack was Kaylee's boyfriend for many years. They just recently broke up. There was no animosity at all. It was a breakup on Kaylee's point. It was not, they still talked every single day. Kaylee just thought that she needed a little break. They're wasting their time with Jack. And Jack is just as distraught as we are. Jack is our family. Jack is 100%, 2,000% our family.
Okay, wow. So that was the parents seemingly clearing the ex-boyfriend. And first of all, how brave of these people to speak out, to come on television and talk about this. You know, they talked about there being so much evidence that police are looking at, from evidence within the house and even outside of the house. And I want to play a little bit more sound from the parents talking about all of the evidence police are looking at. Let's listen.
They're telling us that there's so much evidence that it's going to take a lot of time to process it all. This wasn't like a pinpoint crime. This person was sloppy.
They have not confirmed that they have DNA from this person. They just said that they have a ton of evidence. It's all digital information, phones pinging off of their residence, somebody's ring cams, and they're combing through that, and obviously physical evidence from the inside the house.
Okay, so Sean, I want to go to you on this because you touched on this yesterday when we talked about this. You talked about the cell phone activity that could be key. Now, we know the FBI is assisting the Idaho State Police and the local police, and they are very good at analyzing this cell phone data. What do you think they can glean?
Well, no, they are good. And so you look at the Moscow Police Department, even the State Police Department of Idaho, you want expertise. You want people who do this every single day. I mean, Jimmy tells jokes every day. He's good at it. I don't. I mean, when you do things over and over again, you become proficient. And so to bring the FBI in as the experts, again, I think they're going to do a better job of looking at evidence that the state police and the local police may not be thinking about. And again, we talk about the cell phones and the video cameras, looking for DNA. That really matters. And that expertise, I think, is going to make sure that we get a conclusion of this case. And you know, for me, I look at what's been talked about, this crime of passion. I think that matters. You look at, you have 4 deceased victims. There's a pool of people that we're going to pull from. There's only that many people that will have passion that can commit a crime like this. It's about narrowing that pool down and figuring out who was the criminal. Yeah,
and as a former state prosecutor, you know the things that they're looking at. What do you guys think about the family all but clearing the ex-boyfriend? Nicole, let me ask you about that.
You know, I think it's interesting. Obviously, they showed their support for this gentleman. They said that their daughter was in a relationship with him for many years, so they feel that they got to know him, felt very close, could never fathom that he would do something such as that. The fact that she did call him so many times that night certainly doesn't implicate him as the suspect. If she knows him very well, you know, why was she calling him? Were there voicemails? Was she calling him because she was scared of something and she wanted his help? Or was it late night and she missed this person and was wanting to call him over and over? So I think looking into that a little bit more, you know, obviously this is a tragedy. And one of the things that, you know, the mother said that she had talked to her earlier in the day and she sounded that she was fine. You know, there wasn't anything that she didn't sound in distress. She was having a good day. We saw the pictures. She was at the food truck. So she was obviously okay through the afternoon, through the evening, early into the morning. It wasn't until something happened once she was home. And so as they're sifting through all this evidence, it will take some time, but I think we will be getting a lot more answers in the days and weeks to come.
Yeah, and you mentioned that she had spoken to her daughter just the day before, and she talked about that last night on Lawrence Jones' program. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
Kaylee called me on Saturday. My birthday was earlier in the week, and said, Mom, I'll be home on Tuesday, and I'm going to take you out to breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it's all on me, and we'll celebrate your birthday. And I said, well, I don't know if I believe that, meaning she'd pay, but that sounds great, Kaylee. And I'll see you on Tuesday, honey. And then she sent me a couple pictures of her and Maddie.
Yeah, wow. So to your point, she didn't sound like a young girl in distress over anything. Jimmy, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm optimistic from the standpoint that police are saying there's a lot of evidence, you know, be it DNA, be it digital. I'm optimistic that we'll finally get some answers. But at the same time, I'm frustrated that we don't have them already because, again, it is a narrow pool who would commit this crime. There is a lot of known information at this point, meaning if there is digital evidence, they have it. It doesn't take a week to get it. Mm-hmm. If the crime scenes, heaven forbid, are sloppy, they have that DNA evidence as well. So, you know, from an optimistic standpoint, I mean, and there's certainly nothing upbeat about the story, you want to believe we're less than 24 to 48 hours from some type of a direction. Because personally, it's surprising. If this went on the 12th of November, and we're sitting here over a week later, knowing how quickly they can geotag phones, knowing how quickly they can turn around DNA evidence, you know, you want to believe we'd have something by now. And my only guess is maybe they do, but they're just trying to make this case concrete before they bring it forward, is what I want to believe. You know,
I think it's interesting, too. Former LAPD Detective Mark Furman indicated that he talked to a student on campus where Kaylee had a stalker that she had talked about a couple months ago. Obviously, that's a person of interest. It's a rarity that you have someone stalk you on campus. If that person existed, obviously that would be a key suspect that you would want to speak to if you were law enforcement.
Well, and one of the things recently in today's era is social media. And so they're combing through not only Kaylee's social media, but her friends and those around her, who's liking her posts. And, you know, obviously being a mother thinking about this is very upsetting. So she just bought a new car. She was getting ready to go backpacking all across Europe. She was obviously making money somehow. So they're going to be looking at everything, the friends, the social media, but also, you know, where is she working? These are all going to be persons of interest. So I think the pool is very broad when it started, and hopefully they are able to narrow it down at this point.
Well, and to the point of this possible stalker mentioned by former LAP detective Mark Furman, the parents did talk last night about how aware Kaylee was of her safety on campus and off campus. We have a clip of that sound, too. Let's listen to that.
Our son went to that college. No, absolutely not.
My daughter was aware of her environment.
Very aware.
She turned her camera on. She would film when she thought somebody was following her out of a mall parking lot or a grocery store.
I mean, she would think somebody was following her, and she would call me and say, Mom, I think there's somebody following me. And I'm like, well, Kaylee, call the police, you know, and then she'd say, oh, never mind. You know, just, I mean, she was aware, you know, and very aware.
You know, Anita, one thing that really struck me when I heard that last night on Lawrence Jones was, did she have people who we had heard about a stalker? Was she having people who were following her? I mean, how far back does this actually go? And is this as random and as they're making it seem?
Well, that's a great question.
Yeah. Well, I hear her talk about her daughter being safety conscious and calling her if someone's following her. Listen, my daughter's the same way. And you get a sense of relief maybe that your child is conscious of their surroundings. And then this happens, it takes away that maybe blanket of security a parent feels that you've taught your kids to be concerned about everything that's happening around them. And this can happen to them in the comfort of their home. Yeah.
Well, still so many more questions, and police are expected to hold a press conference later today. So perhaps we'll get more information, perhaps some answers, and, you know, hopefully soon.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.